Hello, good morning. I am Kadeen Smith from the United Nations in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm here this morning at the Caribbean Sustainable Development Forum with Mr. Vincent Sweeney, who is the head of UN Environment's Caribbean office. Firstly, welcome. And can you share with us some of the takeaways from the discussions that have been held thus far at the forum?
I've been impressed by the level of interest in cooperation among all of the territories, and particularly with the Dutch, because we don't have as much dialogue between, let's say, the Commonwealth, Caribbean or CARICOM countries and the small Dutch islands. But there's a lot of interest, and I think there are some solutions that we can consider with the help of our Dutch friends that maybe we hadn't considered before. It's also, I think, encouraging that there is support from outside of the region for some of the efforts. We've heard from the EU and from the Dutch government in particular, as well as from some banks. And all of that's going to be necessary in order for us to really advance the implementation of the SDGs.
Now, with regard to the Sustainable Development Goals, I know UN Environment is involved in all of them, but particularly around SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, SDG 13 on climate action, 14 on life below water, and 15 on life on land. What are some of the initiatives that are being undertaken to advance these SDGs in the region?
We have quite a large program, as you would imagine, and it covers aspects of most of the SDGs. In the region, we have a very small office, or I should say in the sub-region, but we have a lot of support from the rest of the organization through our regional office in Panama, and of course from Nairobi, Paris, Geneva, and other places. So we have over the years, even as the SDGs were being articulated, been developing programs in the Caribbean which naturally would match some of the priorities here because the region has been part of the process. So, for example, climate activities. We are working with a number of countries implementing Global Environment Facility or GEF projects. We are also very active since we were recently accredited to the Green Climate Fund. We're actually developing a large project in Jamaica right now. At this meeting, I should mention also we had some very useful discussions with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, or the 5Cs, and they, along with the CDB, would like to collaborate. Collectively, we want to join forces to try and tap into some of the GCF money that's available, because it's quite demanding to prepare projects, and there's a lot of scope for not only collaboration but actually sourcing some of those funds, which we haven't been able to do already. Beyond the climate activities, we have a program on resource efficiency, under which our sustainable consumption and production activities focus, and particularly our green economy work. And that's a big topic these days in the Caribbean. Guyana, Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, and Haiti in particular have been working with us and are currently working with us on implementing recommendations from green economy studies, which we help them prepare, or actually developing strategies for implementation. And I think one of our major projects or major initiatives coming up over the next years will be a green state development strategy for Guyana, as well as supporting Barbados in what's called PAGE, or Partnership for Action on Green Economy. And then we have our typical what I would say our bread and butter issues in the Caribbean. Those are the ones which we are best known for, including our oceans activities through the Regional Seas program. And we actually are implementing a small project now in Jamaica looking at garbage that gets into the ocean with the US EPA. It's called the Trash Free Waters Initiative. We also have another larger project in Jamaica on plastic waste, which is being supported by the Japanese government. And we have a regional initiative with the Dutch Caribbean, which we're expanding to the English-speaking Caribbean through a regional conference to be held probably in June or July. Yeah. And then we have major GEF projects. One is just about coming to an end on wastewater. It's called the Caribbean Regional Fund for Wastewater, and we're trying to develop a follow-on project, particularly with the IDB. And we have what's called an IW Eco project, which is integrating land, water, and ecosystem management. And that's our biggest project in the region right now. being implemented through the Regional Seas program in Jamaica. And that's focusing on Caribbean SIDS and many of the issues you mentioned, life on land, life below the ocean, and climate and biodiversity. So we've got a large portfolio.
Okay, thank you. And just before you leave, what are some of the next steps that you think should be implemented following this forum, and some of the next steps for UN Environment?
Well, we've identified a number of priority actions that came out of this forum here in Aruba. Some of them are, I would say, short term, call them quick wins, which we can easily move forward on because we've already programmed resources for them. Others are longer term. But I think we have some really good opportunities for cooperation, and the expressions of interest and some of the lessons that others have shared with us, I think we can put into practice. It's been a very diverse group of participants here, including some people we don't speak to as often. And I think we've learned from them. And now that we know who they are and they know who we are, we're looking forward to increased collaboration, because the SDGs are not going to be implemented by UN or by the countries on their own. It's going to be, especially in the Caribbean, it's going to require a lot of effort from many people and a lot of collaboration. I think we've seen that spirit during the course of the last 3 days.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, and thank you. For more information on what's happening in the Caribbean around sustainable development, do visit www.2030caribbean.org. For more information on the CSDF, visit their Facebook page at Caribbean Sustainable Development Forum.